Oh, hey, good to see you. Glad you could join me today. Got some pretty interesting project we're going to start. Should have been started a long time ago. Um, Let me take you out here and show you what I got. Today, we're going to get back on a project that I should have finished a long time ago. It's my dad's 1963 or 64 Ford 2000 4-cylinder gas burning tractor. I rebuilt the back half of it with all the hydraulics and new axle bearings and seals, and did a top lid rebuild, did all of that. I kind of got burned out on the project, lost my motivation, lost my interest in the project, and it's kind of just been sitting here like this. I did get the head reworked. It's sitting inside the shop there. But this is the state that it's been in. Really, the next thing I need to do is get this engine block off. You know, split the tractor apart, get that engine block off, get it to the machine shop where they're basically going to rebuild that block for me. Today, for this video, let's just see if we can't, you know, get some of these doodads off and actually get the block separated from the rest of the tractor. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is drain the oil out of this. I've already loosened the drain plug, so I'm curious to see what it might be gonna look like. It is very dirty. Anyway, get this oil drain, get the oil pan off, and I wanted to show you. I did drain the oil, change the oil in this before I started, you know, working on it a couple years ago or whatever, but I don't remember having cleaned this out, and apparently I didn't, but just in the bottom of this thing, man. Look at that. This is the governor. I want to get that linkage off next, and it's pretty simple. It's just a little, you can see how long this thing's been sitting, man. There's cobwebs everywhere. Anyway, it's got a little clip here. Pretty simple. Undo that. This should pop right out like that. Don't lose your little clip. Put it back on that arm right there. Snap it back on. And get the spring out of this arm right here. All right, I got a box over here. I'm gonna keep this stuff in, and hopefully when we start putting this tractor back together, somebody's gonna know where this stuff goes. So got another little arm here. This one goes to the carburetor, which, you know, of course we've already got all that stuff off. It's got a little cotter pin there, and that comes off. So we'll put that back the way we found it. Put it in the box. All right, this side's a little more involved because we have the hydraulic pump is right here. So before we get into that, we've got our ignition coil and our distributor here that we can go ahead and probably get those out. This will come out. It sometimes may not want to. Okay. Let's see if we can get up there. All right, I'm gonna need a 5/16 for that one, so I'll be right back. You're gonna have to get these. Oh my goodness, it's a 3/8. 3/8. 3/8. The distributor hold down, I've got I've got it over here in the box. We're gonna keep it. Distributor should just pull right on out. Pretty neat. It's got a little place you can oil the distributor right there. Just put a few drops of oil in it. It keeps that shaft lubricated. Wow. I don't know if you can hear that. That sounds horrible. But the poor thing needs a new distributor, so we'll be splurging on that part. We're just going to put it in the box. Okay, now this is from the oil pressure sending unit. This is coming from the oil pump, so we are going to have to get this off in order to get to that. If we can get this righty tighty lefty loosey. I had done some stuff to this tractor when I got it from my dad. Had passed away, and many years ago he had given it to our neighbor who had been a tractor mechanic. And when Dad passed away, I approached the fella and I asked him if I could buy it back from him. Graciously, he told me that I could have my dad's tractor back, and I'm very thankful for that. His family are good people. They've been our neighbors, my mom and dad's neighbors, and my neighbors when I was growing up. But for my whole life, good people, very good people. If you're taking this apart, you're doing this when you take your proof meter cable out of your hydraulic pump, and that's what that is. That's your proof meter cable. There is a little. Oh, it tried to go back in there. Well, let's see if we can't coax it back out. Oh, I'll have to get something to fish it out now. Got this little pig, and I can't really see what I'm doing because I'm on the wrong side, but that got it. I don't know what you call this other than a proof meter adapter. I don't know what. Anyway, this part goes into your hydraulic pump and engages in there, and then this end is what your proof meter cable slides onto, and that's what turns your proof meter cable. I'm sure all you already knew that. I'm just saying, just be mindful when you're taking this stuff apart. So this little dude could get lost. Oh, righty tighty lefty loosey. Should be it. None of these are like real tight. So I got 2 from up top, second one from down below. See if we can sneak that one out. All right. I'm sure one of these is the pressure and one's the return. I'm assuming the small one is the pressure, maybe. Large one's the return. Anyway, in the box. So on that list of very few tools that you need to work on these, keep that 9/16 on the list. All right, now this one may still have some fluid in it, so let's see if we can. No. All right, no fluid in it. Put it in the box. Now we're to this, which is our oil pressure sensor, sending unit, whatever you want to call it. All right. Probably need to loosen this. This is probably a compression fit. Probably just loosen this carefully. Make sure I don't damage the actual line here. Get it loose and get the line out, then we take that out. We'll be very careful. Can you see what I'm doing here? Get you in here. This is our oil pressure. This is the line that goes up to the gauge. It's connected here to this, which is, I'm assuming, the sensor, or the sending unit, whatever you want to call it. Got to loosen this compression fitting nut. See if I can't get this line off without damaging it. That's what I'm doing, and that is a 5/16. So that's what I got here. So if you see what happens as I'm turning the nut, the tube turns. I'm hoping the tube will stop turning because I can't keep turning the nut and the tube. Oh, there we go. See what happened? Tube broke loose from the nut. That's exactly what you want. You keep turning the nut and the tube turning with it, and you're going to twist the tube off. All right, so that's great. We got that off without ripping it apart. I'm just going to tuck it right there. I'm just making my way around the edge of this oil pan, getting these bolts out. Put it in the box. Put it in the box. Let's continue going with these in the back because they've been so loose. Yep, didn't even need to ratchet. Separate the two, and so we can see what's down inside that oil pan. If I had to guess, I would say it's pretty nasty. These are all just 1/2 inch. Well, I gotta actually use the ratchet on one. Two more, and then that's it. Well, so if we can't get the two separated. Well, I was wrong. The oil pan is decided to drop down on the last bolt. That's fine. That's fine. Put this right here. Oh my gosh. It's like, wow. The bottom of the pan is about a 1/2 inch thick with crud. So much for the air filtration system. 1, 2, basically 4 bolts. We got 1, 2, 3. Number 4 is on the other side. Now this shield right here will have to come off. Sorry, this shield right here will have to come off with it. So there's a few more bolts that are holding it on, you know, here and on the other side. And then there's one down there on the bottom. So yeah, we'll have to get all those off. But before we start loosening those bolts, we're gonna get our engine picker and we're gonna get it connected up here on the head somewhere. We'll get a couple of head bolts, and so that we can get a good firm hold of it. And don't start taking the bolts off at the top, because if you don't have it supported very well and your engine drops, you know, you could break, bend, warp some stuff down here. So start at the bottom, take those, and the last bolt you want to take out is going to be these two up here. The last 2 bolts you want to take out will be these. Oh, and last left our hero. He was need to take a few bolts out and hook the hoist to the engine to try to get it out off. So I've jumped ahead of you a little bit. I'm sorry. You have to forgive me. I'm trying to get over something like a bronchitis or something. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I did go ahead and I removed. Of course, start at the bottom. The last bolts you want to remove are these at the top. Before you take any bolts off, go ahead and get your hoist. Okay. Clean off. I just chased threads on 2 of these head bolts and the holes in the bolts, and got my little, whatever you call this thing, load equalizer, or I don't know, 2 attachment points. And the more I've thought about it, I think I'm gonna take this pulley off. I'm gonna go ahead and get the governor, the timing cover off. I'm gonna get as much sheet metal off as I possibly can, because I'm gonna be refinishing that while it's at the machine shop. So we got bolts off, we got tension, and if you see, it's already separated. So I'm gonna put you on a stand, because we may need to document this for the insurance company as soon as I find my tripod. Can't take the microphone with me, so here we go. Had a little trouble getting it to roll on the piece of 1/4 inch plywood down there. Anyway, All right, she's apart. This plate doesn't appear to be actually attached to the block. So now that we've got, look at that, the clutch disc, it still has a tag on it. Remanufactured by BMD. So this hadn't been that long since it's been replaced, but you know what? My dad had this thing we bought this used when I was in college. So I was no older than 20, 54 now. 34 years ago. Alrighty. Unless you guys might want to see, me refinishing some of those sheet metal parts, which all I'll do is, first of all, everything is cleaned with some solvent, gas, diesel fuel, something like that. Clean it. If it's rusted, I've got a little spot blaster. We can clean it back off the metal, prime paint it. Then I got some nice blue, nice rattle can paint job that'll match this blue right here that I like so well. That's really close to the original color. These weren't Ford blue. They were much lighter. So anyway, and it doesn't really matter. But it'll look nice and pretty when we get done with it. Well, I just noticed. What is that? It's a pair of pliers. They've been in there for a minute, but look, they're not that old. Bonus prizes. I remember when these came out. Remember the As Seen on TV pliers? Well, I'll be. At a minimum, they've been in there for 34, 35 years, bare minimum. Wow. What does that say? Rough grip. Made in USA. Definitely keeping those cool. They're just laying in there. So if you ever wanted to see what the inside of a tractor looked like when you got it broke apart, that's pretty much it. Throwout bearing. Yeah. Big piece is your pressure plate. Piece inside, that's your clutch disc. Kind of like a brake disc. Anyway. We're going to try to, I don't think this is it, but maybe it is. I don't know. Like that. So yeah, it was just hanging on, right here. It's only been on there for a while, so good. We can get all this cleaned up, and this part right here has been riding on a seal right there, so we want to get it all cleaned up, but then we especially want to I can feel few imperfections in it right there. And we want to get that polished down to as smooth as we possibly can, so when we reinstall, you know, it'll be a new seal in there, and she'll seal up good and won't damage the new seal. So yeah, those are all 1/2-inch bolts, so shouldn't be too much trouble to get those off. They shouldn't be on very tight because I think this is a cast aluminum timing cover. I try to reuse as much of the original fasteners as I can. I'm doing my best not to drop anything down in this drain pan we got here. It's pretty nasty. There she comes. Oh, there we go. Okay. Alrighty. So the lever comes with it. That's what the inside looks like. It's a little fork in there that I believe it just rides on the face of this. So as your RPM speed up, it pushes, you know, this gadget right here pushes these rollers out, which pushes this out. This pushes this out and pushes your fork, which in turn moves your governor lever this way to maintain control of your engine. So inside the timing cover, we're going to lay it over here with all of those bolts I took out of it. So the clutch disc looks brand new. I mean, still see the writing on it. I see no need to replace that. I mean, I'm all for, you know, doing what you need to do while you've got it apart, but both sides of the clutch disc, can still see the writing on it. This is like a brake pad, you know, this Ray Bestus, which, you know, of course they make brake pads too. They made this, and I see absolutely no need to replace it, man. That's been on there for at least 35 years. But now the tractor hasn't been used a whole lot in those 35 years, but it's kind of surprising. This is your pressure plate. I don't know how to tell, you know, I don't know how to tell what kind of condition the pressure plate is in, other than look for scoring, which it's a little, it's got some grooves in it, not deep grooves. I'm all for fixing what needs to be fixed, but I also don't want to just throw parts at something when it doesn't need them. But I don't see any problem with the clutch whatsoever. Too tight. Now I think what I'm going to do, I've got 2 bolts left in there. I think it would be smart if I was to let this down closer to the ground in case somebody does something stupid. So I don't know if you heard me. I didn't have my microphone on, but I lowered it down to the ground, a little closer to the ground, just in case somebody does something stupid. I don't know who that would be, even though I'm the only one out here. All right. Let's see. Got 2 bolts left on it. This is the point at which somebody would do something stupid. Let's see if we can't just loosen it, maybe. All right, she's loose. Let's be careful, because I don't know what it's resting on. Hopefully it's resting on something in there. Feels like it is. All right. Now, there are no bolts holding it on, so let's see how heavy it is. Oh, it's heavy. It is heavy. And there goes the rest of that water back there. So, all right. So, yep, this is heavy. It's got a bearing in there that I just stuck my finger to turn it. Man, it's got a real flat spot in it. Hope that's something we can get. I sure hope it is, because it's definitely going to need replacement. It's got a bad flat spot in it. Anyway, we will set this to the side before I drop it on my toe. Alright, so this plate should come right off like that. Yeah. So let's take that off. Almost finger tight. If you have one that's got sentimental value, I would say absolutely. But if you're thinking you're going to invest and make money, no, you're not. You're not really. There's too many of them out there. Okay, there is no rust on that. So that'll clean up nice. Put it in the box. That's like the biggest cork gasket I've ever seen, and it's like solid. So I've got the little engine on my brand new engine stand. First time it's being used. Put that together last night right after I left you guys, because felt like I needed to get the oil pump and this stuff off. And I keep saying I'm gonna take it to the machine shop, but you know, the more I'm thinking, this engine is supposed to have sleeves. But I can't see, because, you know, when we found that pair of pliers in there and the fact that the clutch still looks practically brand new, the clutch disc anyway, and look at the underside of those pistons. I think somebody has done some engine work on this thing before, and I think this may not be the original engine, because I see no signs of a sleeve at all. I mean, I can't, it's not going to focus well enough for you, I don't think. I see absolutely no sign of a sleeve. Now, could this engine have been swapped at some point in its life? Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I say, my dad didn't buy it new. He bought this engine in probably 1990. It's about a 62, 63 engine. So, I mean, it was 27 years old by the time he bought it. That's been 34 years ago. So I don't see the indication that this thing has sleeves in it. So given that, we may disassemble this and just run a hone down these cylinders to see if they're out of round. If they're out of round, then we may go ahead and take it to the machine shop. If they're not out of round and we can just hone them, I'm good with that. All right, so I have updates. I was going to attempt to just rebuild this here at the shop, although there's no way I could get their premium cleaning, you know, the bead blasting, polishing of the crank and stuff. I could polish it, but not like they can. And I was just going to hone the cylinders out. So I removed the crank, you know, the pistons, all that stuff. It's in on the workbench, and I'll go show them to you here in just a second. But so, you know, so you'll see that rust discoloration right there. It goes pretty much all the way around, almost. That's from a guy who just lost his motivation on a project and let the block sit, you know, uncovered. Although it was underneath the shop here, you know, those are bare cast iron walls, and this thing does not have sleeves in the cylinders. There are some engines in this time era that did not have sleeves. Although the frame on the tractor indicates it's a sleeved engine, it is not. Whether the engine was replaced at some point or it's just what they had at the factory, I don't know. Anyway, so I have a hone that I have ran up and down this cylinder several times. When I say several times, I mean I ran it for, you know, a good 5 minutes, cleaned it out, inspected, ran it again, did that several times, and we're still not there. Plus, and I don't, the camera's probably not going to pick it up, but there's a couple of gouges, not deep at all. I can feel them with my fingernail, but they're not deep at all. But given the fact that if I can get this one cleaned up, I still got 3 more to go, and I'm just not feeling it. So what I'm going to do is taking the block and the crank to the machine shop. I'm gonna let them bore these 30 thousandths over. I'm gonna let them deck this block, which they'll cut it down to where it's exactly flat. They'll do the premium cleaning with the bead blasting and all that great stuff and clean that dude up really good for me. I did take the camshaft out, and to my knowledge, and I can't really tell, these blocks do not have camshaft bearings. I may be mistaken about that, but I'm not seeing a bearing. I'm just seeing the surface of the cast iron. So let them polish all that up for us. Take you in here to this very disorganized and messy shop. There's the head that I had redone probably, I don't know, 2 years ago. So I pulled, these are the main caps, rod caps, pistons, rods. Always, well, I lay my stuff out from front to back, front to back, front to back. Even my tappets, front to back. I don't know that they make a whole lot of difference, but it's what I do anyway. The main bearings, they don't look that bad, although you know there was a lot of dirt in the engine. I don't understand how that got in there with you know, I mean, we did have an oil filter on it, so but there was an awful lot of dirt in the engine. But even given that, the bearings are in really good shape actually. I'm not seeing any deep wear, so I'm glad of that. The rod bearings are all in decent shape, and you can feel, it feels smooth, but you know, if you use your fingernail, you can feel some very minor imperfections in the wear in the bearing there. But for the most part, man, everything was in great shape. The camshaft, I can probably polish that here at home. I may take it along with the crankshaft just to see, I mean, while I'm taking stuff, if they can polish that, and saves me an awful lot of time and trouble. Don't see any grooves worn at all. The crank looks to be in really good shape. A good polishing would really spiff it up. There's some very minor, and I'm thinking a good polishing will take care of that. But I think I'm gonna let the machine shop inspect it, give me their opinion on what we might need to do. But I think I'm gonna pass on rebuilding it here, because I just, number one, the time. I've got a full-time actual paying job that I have to work Monday through Friday. I don't have the space or all the facilities to do what I need to do, to even just for polishing. I gotta get in here and organize some stuff. But let's take the block, let's take the crank, I'll take the cam. Let's go ahead and take those to the machine shop. Have it bored 30 thousandths over. I want to stick with standard on the bearings. As long as the crank comes out okay, we'll stick with standard on all the bearings. We'll bring it back, bring the block back here, and we will reassemble ourselves. We can do that. Be very simple. These pins are not pressed on. kind of dirty, but there's a snap ring. Take the snap ring out and your wrist pin comes out and you can swap out those pistons. So that's pretty simple. Alright, this is going to be it for the disassembly. I think we're at the limit of the disassembly. There's not much else to take apart on the tractor except for take out here and show you. You know, we still got to do a lot of cleaning, painting, prep work. There's still some sheet metal and stuff we need to get off and get it cleaned and straighten it back out. Some of it's kind of bent. It's a brand new proof meter and cable that we put on about 3 years ago. Got a new steering wheel for it. I mean, there's still some other doodads to take care of, a lot of cleaning. But thanks for hanging in with me. I know it was a long video, but it's a project I've been putting off. I started it. I got some of the most tedious stuff done, and I think it just kind of burned me out. Now I need to finish the rest of it. So thanks for hanging in with me. If y'all haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that if you enjoy this kind of stuff. Or if you want to see something different, let me know what you want to see. I will do my best to accommodate. As always, be kind to one another. See you next time.